Hello everyone. Welcome to the 8th Annual Butryms Awards. So last year I did a video like this. I said I was going to go through the bronze, silver, and gold tiers. Let's run that back for a second.
At some point I will put the silver and bronze lists together and upload the full 2.5 hour long behemoth, most likely on a YouTube channel that either doesn't exist or has existed and has not been used in like 13 years.
Yeah, so this fat ass fucking lied. This year we're going to do things a bit differently, however. I actually prepared a script so I can cut out all the rambling for most of the movies. Well, the intro still doesn't have a script, which is probably obvious. But yes, welcome one and all to the 8th Annual Butryms Awards. This, of course, is where we look at the best movies from the year of our Lord, 2023. I have been doing this now for 8 years. That is a significant chunk of my life. I did not think I would be doing it this long. Yet we are still here, because you guys pester me. Where are the awards? Well, here they are. Happy, shut up. Now I need to address the elephant in the room and acknowledge that for the first time since starting this, I watched less movies than I did last year. I am busy, okay? Mind you, it's over 130, and 2 years ago I was only doing like 140. So in reality, it's not that much of a step down, but just something to note. I'm sorry, I'm in grad school, I got stuff to do. The fact I'm still doing this, I don't even know how. So what else are we waiting for? Let's get into this, all right? Let's start with the bronze tier movies. These are the ones that I like. They're better than the average film from last year, I suppose. What is the average? I don't know. Just I liked it. You might like it too. Get at it. How does this affect LeBron's legacy? Ben Affleck and Matt Damon ain't making chill dad movies about LeBron's shoes. It's been a minute since a good old-fashioned rom-com like this with some hot leads. Plus it's a Shakespeare movie. It's cute. It's wholesome. Nice little bro movie about some delinquents in France. This one's funny and queer. And bonus points for supporting actress Megan Thee Stallion. A surprisingly really fun blockbuster that nails the spirit of the game. They had me at what if Pinochet was a vampire? Pixar isn't hitting home runs like they used to, but still, yeah, at least they didn't strike out with this one. Even if it's just a single or a double, you can still get on base. I enjoyed the first one. This one goes hard as well. There's another sick one-shot. Netflix, make more of these ones, please. Michael Mann is back, he's still got it, and he's here to tell us that it's hard being a dude and dealing with masculinity. However, I am dinging it for Adam Driver's second bad Italian accent in a row. Per favore, Adam Driver. Stop. No more. Cute and wholesome, Res Edition. Thanks for the memories, James Gunn. This one's a good swan song to this series, if not the entire MCU at this point. A nice Colombian movie about a little village watching a boxing match that by the end, you really immerse yourself in. Bradley Cooper tried a little too hard with this one, but there's still a lot to appreciate, like the cinematography and Carey Mulligan's performance. This one is just full of hot people. May Zeno bless you, Tom Cruise, and may you continue to make authentic Hollywood blockbusters. I mean, as a Napoleon biopic, this one is like a failure, but I don't know, there's some of the costumes and some of the set pieces, there's just, maybe my bias towards the historical figure is coming out. It's a mixture of emotions, Ridley Scott. What the hell did you do? Caitlin Devers? Aliens? No dialogue? Spooky fun. It's like The Lonely Island, but for Zoomers. I don't know if Sofia Coppola really kept me with this one fully, but there was still quite a lot to appreciate, from the acting to a lot of the nice shots. I didn't like it as much as Promising Young Woman. It was beautifully shot, it had a bit of confusing politics, and I know this one was a bit controversial. I still liked it though. I always love watching Weird Barry too. An unhinged Finnish veteran killing Nazis in World War II. What else is there to say? I like Korean horror movies, especially when they're a bit playful. I guess I didn't need that though. Now you're just somebody that I used to know somebody. What if Lifetime made a Lovecraftian erotic thriller with an emphasis on body possession? You get this movie. Even amongst the so-called Spider-Verse copycats, this one has a really unique style and I enjoyed the brothers' banter. Just a bit twee, but cute though. Listen, it had a frustrating plot and very pedestrian storytelling, but my god, it was a visual spectacle for the eyes, and that alone puts it on here. Lily Gladstone guides you through a spiritual journey across America to unlock your ancestral memories. A nice little comedic gem celebrating theater kids, but don't celebrate them too hard, they don't need more of an ego. It's a creative little comedic slasher with time travel. Is that Don Draper's daughter? It isn't the best VHS or my favorite, but I still enjoyed a bulk of the shorts. And hey, it's more VHS, you know I'm biased towards it. This one is rare. It was an effective music doc from Netflix, which, now that I'm actually looking at the list, I realize is like one of the only documentaries I watched this year. So I guess by default, this is the best documentary of 2023? Silver Tier. What is Silver Tier? Well, that is essentially, what is Silver Tier, you might ask? Now listen, I don't really do number ratings. I don't really believe in that sort of nonsense. I don't believe in numbers in general. I think they're a social construct. Much like astrology or human rights, I believe numbers are made up, and therefore I don't do number ratings. But for the simplistic sake, I would say imagine your silvers being 7 to 8 out of 10s. Ones I really enjoyed, ones I really like, some I might even love. However, none of them are perfect, many of them do have some problems, but hey, no one's ever complained about silver. Except all those studies that show that the Olympic athletes that get silver tend to be the most depressed. Andrew Scott is a sad boy with Paul Mescal. There's romance and memory. And everyone in this movie has a sick sweater. Saw this one at TIFF, where it won People's Choice Awards. I liked it a lot, thought it was pretty clever. Jeffrey Wright was really good, and Sterling K. Brown slayed. Listen, the soundtrack was stacked. Tame Impala, Billy, Dua. Set design was committed. Ryan Gosling stole the show with the best original song of the year. But shout out to Margot who sold it as well. Personally, was my preferred experience at Barbenheimer. Ari Aster's latest film is in many ways a hard one to place. It's not really horror, yet it has some of the most unsettling moments from any film of this year. It's a 3-hour odyssey that I think starts to overstay its welcome. Out of all these corporate biopics that came out this year, this one easily hit the hardest. Mainly since I lived through it and remember the BBM days. Yo girl, you got BBM? I also clapped like a Marvel fanboy when they showed Cops Coliseum. Common Hamilton win. Glenn Howerton, you're a star. Ayo and Rachel, I hope you guys pair up again. Marshawn Lynch adds a few points as well. It was so absurd and that's why I loved it. I think it might be my favorite comedy of the year. Scarborough Man's Nya? A somber look at the experience of East Toronto brothers with some great performances, especially from the mother played by Marsha Stephanie Blake. It's a human look at an Afghani refugee in California that has some nice moments with a memorable cast of characters. Also the guy from The Bear. The real villain is government bureaucracy in this Argentinian horror. I must say, it feels like years since I've been genuinely shocked at a horror movie, and this film definitely did that, so if that ain't the best recommendation I can give, I don't know what is. This little slasher film was a lot more clever than it initially appeared, and it had me hooked with an enjoyably bloody story with some nice shots and a murderous leading performance by Cassandra Naud. The latest from Brandon Cronenberg. I didn't like it as much as Possessor, but there's still some creepy sci-fi concept here and Mia Goth remains frickin' weird. Yeah, this one pretty much sums up COVID lockdown. Willem Dafoe was also just great as always. This was the best action film of the year, with some incredibly impressive action, direction, and stunt work in some of these sequences. Rina Sawayama was great, and rest in peace to my Commander Zavala. This was awesome. I wish Finland was real. Holy shit, this film is gorgeous. Though it did feel more like a Western than an Italian film. Luca Marinelli is great, and the chemistry between the two leads is compelling enough. I really dug the vibe of this one. It's very well shot and the story threw some curveballs, all while the tension remained sexual. Adele Exarchopoulos. Also, Adele Exarchopoulos is freaky in this, in more ways than one. An Argentinian bank heist movie that turns into an existential odyssey of self-discovery and capitalistic purgatory. The guy who wrote Taxi Driver is back to finish his trilogy of weirdos who write in diaries. Listen, if you've seen either of these ones, it's more of the same, for better or for worse, yet somehow it's the most optimistic. Oppenheimer is a technically brilliant film on all levels, and this might be Nolan's magnum opus. It was fantastic to watch in IMAX, the score is excellent, the cinematography is great. Cillian Murphy, best performance of the year. I still didn't love it, even upon rewatch, though I will say I did get a bit of a new appreciation for it. I forgot like the first part of this movie is all about students going on strike and trying to unionize, and as a student currently on strike, it did hit a bit hard. I still got my problems with it, but you know, I do really like it. Alright dude, we get it, but she's married, so move on. Dang, I think this is my favorite horror movie of the year. It's about time the Australians remind us who the masters are. Beautiful. Just simply beautiful. Thank you, Miyazaki. Also, shout out to Robert Pattinson for actually understanding the assignment of a voice actor. Zac Efron adds another fantastic performance to his resume as I sit and reflect on how the real story is somehow more messed up. Guys, this one's for us. Please go check on your friends and see if they're doing okay. Fincher's wonderful response to Fight Club fanboys, as well as a clinical look at the gig economy with some trademark dark comedy thrown in. Also, this is going to be my fit this summer. It's like if Boots Riley made Black Dynamite, with some great performances by Jamie Foxx and Teyonah Parris. Enticing sexual thriller with gripping chemistry between the two leads. At this point, just put Christopher Abbott in your movie playing a loser and I'm down to watch it. And finally, we are at the gold tier. This is the best of the best movies. Or the best of the year, I should say. Again, are any of them perfect? Probably not. But this would be still your 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s in some cases, sure. These essentially are my favorites of the year. A lot of them could be runner-up of film of the year, for example. These are the ones that I've thought about the most and I'll probably keep thinking about in the future. Gold! Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know what you heard about me, but I was in 2 Best Picture nominees. Yeah, I really... Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Are you a movie fan as well? I feel like I don't know enough about French civil law to understand the minutiae of this film's central court case, but I do understand the emotional toll it must take to stand trial for the mysterious death of your husband. Julia serves a wonderfully real performance here, and you hang on to every line she delivers with an exasperated struggle against the prosecution. As a lover of courtroom dramas, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The writing between her and her husband is just excellent as well, revealing that director/co-writer Justine Triet masterfully knows what to show and what to tell. And what not to tell, for maximum effect. Also, shout out to the dog actor Messi for the best animal performance of the year. Asteroid City. Perhaps Anderson's most introspective film yet, and it's certainly my favorite since the Grand Budapest Hotel. I think people at this point have determined if they love or hate Anderson's defined idiosyncratic style, and make no mistake, if you are in the latter camp, this movie will do nothing to change it. There is a certain poignancy with the way the story is told here that makes the viewer reflect on their own role in engaging in creating art in the context of lockdowns and grief. There's some writing that hit hard and reveals the existential crisis imbued with art's search for answers, only to remind us that all that really matters is that we keep telling the story, regardless if we get it or not. Closure is something we seek but may never attain, yet like a shark we must keep moving forward. The ensemble cast delivers, with Schwartzman nailing his shot at a leading man and enough memorable moments for each actor to have their minute to shine. Visually, it is a Wes Anderson film, which means it's just gorgeous to look at, and I dig the desert aesthetic, so this one landed harder than usual. Godzilla, -1. A somber reflection on the destruction of war, -1 manages to become one of the most provoking Godzilla films in decades. An indifferent force of nature reflective of the indifferent empires that use people for fodder. Godzilla takes on a terrifying presence that makes you as tense as you are excited, with his blank eyes affixed past you as he lumbers forward, apathetic to the human masses around him. The framing of the human story is set against post-war Japan, which immediately changes how we see these characters and their respective guilt and regrets. Finally, a chance to do the right thing, to win a noble war is possible for them. The destructive power of Godzilla is comparable to that of Hiroshima, and finally the people of Japan can put a stop to it and build something new together. The deep historical political memories that it confronts, combined with the terror of this imposing Godzilla, all while centered on broken humans you want to see succeed, make for one of this year's finest films. I like movies. So do I. So this is my sneak of the year, but in my defense, few films are able to access the memories of a fat loser film fan growing up in Southern Ontario. Though it's a simple coming of age, the local features of Burlington added personal dimensions which up until now were untapped for me in the film medium. I feel this kid. He is me. And this might sound odd considering, well, all of this, what I'm doing right now, but sometimes it's important to look at our relationships to our hobbies, whether film or whatever, and address the source of our passions and the ways in which they may flounder our relationships with not only others, but ourselves. Overall, a solid little film that resonated with me deeply. Also, there's a Tanner Zipchin cameo for all you old Cineplex fans out there.
Are you guys ready for time play? Just open the app and select your auditorium.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese's latest film is an indictment of American greed, capitalism, and colonialism. Though I don't think it's perfect, the peaks of this film tower over others, which is expected from a figure as titanic in his craft like the 5'4" Scorsese. Lily Gladstone kills it, expressing and channeling grief into a defining role, but I think Leo actually cooked up a performance realistically slimy and pathetic here. After decades of portraying the shittiest people imaginable, Marty somehow does them all with some of the most vile real-life villainy ever concocted in American history. Also, I think it has my personal favorite ending of any film this year that really elevated it into another level and just floored me. It recontextualizes and addresses everything you just witnessed, confronting the audience with a crushing reality, while at the same time offering a glimmer of hope to those most affected. May, December. I gotta say, in a film with powerhouses like Moore and Portman, it was actually Charles Melton that surprised me the most. The way he bounces between frustration, sadness, and confusion, all while trying to hide behind a mask of maturity, he encapsulates this character to a T. I was completely absorbed into this fucked up story, enthralled and disgusted at the actions of the various characters here. Everyone has their own dark motivations in this story, and director Todd Haynes brilliantly highlights how exploitative of real people we, the audience, can be in our quest for these juicy true crime stories. His direction here is really clever, with a lot of subtext and meta-commentary thrown in to turn what could have been a dry film into one ripe to pick apart. It'll probably make you all uncomfortable, but if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. Passive fiction. Okay, hear me out. Polynesia plus mystery noir. Gumshoe on the beach vibes with this one. Before I say anything else, look at this. Fucking ridiculous motion photography, lads. I could make love to some of these shots. Okay, so, it's a commentary on colonialism, war paranoia, sexuality, crime, and local tribal politics. And over the course of the nearly 3-hour runtime, director Albert Serra absorbs you in this mystery surrounding sightings of a French nuclear sub encircling the sleepy island paradise of Tahiti, on the fringes of French overseas rule. As you follow the sweaty governor of the island, played enjoyably by Benoit Magimel, you become invested in every side character's little plot or deception, as like him, you start to wonder what to believe, and even if what you're seeing is real. I found the laid-back pace of this film effective. It's a slow burn on a beach resort where the time in the nightclub can be as important to understanding the case as the boardroom interrogations. The layers to each scene and its context both to real international relations and French colonial exploits mixes together into a smooth pour cocktail best served on the beach, and leaves you both horrified at the realities of our Sisyphean existence in this bureaucratic imperial project, and also really wants to make you visit Tahiti. Tahiti! Passages. This one really got me. Tragedy and romance, hubris and lust, greed and denial. This film has it all. Following a director at the ends of his marriage and igniting a new affair, Franz Rogalski's attention to this character have you feeling pity on him 1 second, and then seconds later want to slap his horny ass out of it. Ben Whishaw is just gutting as his husband, and Adele Exarchopoulos really shines here in the scenes when she vents her frustrations. I think bar for bar, this is my favorite acting trio of the year. Everything else slickly draws you in thanks to director Ira Sachs. From set design to the shot compositions, he assembles a hazy atmosphere of murky emotions and conflicting motivations. Maybe I'm projecting, but I felt connections to all of these characters at some level in a profoundly unique way in 2023. Definitely check this out. Riddle of Fire. Yeah, this was the best movie I saw at TIFF this year. What a trip. Literally. Following three little punk kids in rural Wyoming, much like any fantasy adventure, a simple fetch quest turns into an odyssey encountering all sorts of dangers and monsters. The three kids' chemistry was nothing short of wonderful, and the adults provided good comedic support. Nailing a 70s fantasy vibe that makes it feel like it's part of a Led Zeppelin song remains the same clip. I just adored this movie stylistically at all levels, and director Weston Rizzulli, who I got to see do a Q&A after my screening, deserves credit for tying this mishmash of styles and odes together very effectively. I believe this one is finally out in some theaters, and so I would strongly urge you all to go see this one when you can, because I'm sure this is one everyone's gonna love. Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse. I loved it. Somehow it was more stylish than the first and thematically much stronger. Just an impressive animation display from Sony here, and reminds us all why the rest of the industry is trying to emulate this style. I like the direction they're taking these characters, and its commentary on expectations and tradition within the genre was clever. It really is just a super impressive film to look at, and the best comic book movie in a while easily for me. However, the cliffhanger ending did sour a mood a bit, and I would say going in knowing that it's a part 1 will make the experience a bit better. The Holdovers. This was just a solid 70s holiday vibe film. Dripping with atmosphere, Alexander Payne's newest movie sees a reunion with Paul Giamatti, where he plays an obtuse classics teacher tasked with babysitting his private school's holdover student, played by newcomer Dominic Sessa, all while the school chef Divine Joy Randolph deals with her own personal tragedies. And I know I just gave it to Passages, but I would say then I guess this is my second favorite acting trio of the year. The plot is nothing groundbreaking, but the attention paid to these characters and their interactions is extraordinary. You feel the history behind every line, the stories behind every glance, and the hidden emotions under every conversation. They are real people with real problems and real consequences, and over the course of the runtime you'll grow to love them, flaws and all. I think this could be a Christmas classic with the right audience, and as a history nerd, the Peloponnesian and Punic War jokes were much appreciated.
Open your books to chapter 6. The Peloponnesian War, gentlemen.
The Zone of Interest. Jonathan Glazer, director of this Jamiroquai music video, also directed this. This film can be quite haunting, and that's due in large part to the sound design, which Glazer does a lot of interesting and experimental things with. And when paired with the limited score, it is effective in constructing a horrifying facade of mundanity to block out the mechanized atrocities just beyond the Haas's garden walls. Uller, welcome back. Thanks for bookending this list with a pair of great performances. This film has remained in my head since seeing it, and the more time passes, the more I like it. I guess we can just be glad that though this movie deals with horrible atrocities, we can be rest assured that there's no such horrors going on today that we are sheltering ourselves from like the Haas's. Alright guys, we're here. We did it. Let's get to it. What we've all been waiting for. Your best picture for the 2024 season. But before I announce it, let's backtrack for a moment to the third annual Butryms. It was for the 2018 season, and when I did these awards, I picked a film that, though I necessarily didn't think was so much stronger than the rest or something that would change my life, it was my personal favorite, all things considered. Funnily enough, that movie is called The Favorite, and it was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I bring this up because 2018 felt very similar to 2024. There was a lot of great films, and even if none of them hit some of the previous winners' highs, I did have one that was my preferred choice. And so I find myself in the same position this year as I was in 2018. With the same director. Poor Things. It's Yorgos' quirkiness and romantic dressing combined that make this my film of the year. Listen, it starts in black and white, I was already on board, and then in like Act 2 the color opens up, and then I went from being into it to being completely enthralled in it. The sets become whimsically saturated, and the skies are painted in fantastical pinks and purples and blues. It's also interesting to note that this is my pick for cinematography of the year, and it wouldn't be the first time this alignment has happened. Maybe I'm just shallow and like pretty looking things. I thought I was going to be controversial picking Emma Stone, but then the Oscars stole my thunder. Yes, this is my favorite lead actress performance of the year. I found her incredible and how she shifted through all these ages seamlessly and brought the charisma to pull it all off.
What?
Mark Ruffalo is also my favorite supporting actor as well. He's just so damn memorable and quotable in this.
No, of course. What the fuck are you talking about? What were you?
But I found the rest of the cast all did great as well. They all gave memorable performances from top to bottom, and I can think of at least one or two moments or lines from each of them. And this is also owed to the writing. The thematic points hit for me, and I think it's just that I happen to enjoy the quirky and jocular dialogue and direction Yargos presents. His trademark style is on display, and I admit I am a bit biased towards it at this point as well, considering I've enjoyed everything else I've seen from him. The soundtrack was excellent and supported the film thematically. Yeah, I love this one. Go check it out. It's my film of the year for a reason. I could talk about this one a whole lot more, but instead I'll let you guys go out and watch it first, and then, hey, come back to me. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about any of these films below. Hello. Don't worry, the video is over. This is just the outro. You don't gotta keep watching. Though if you did keep watching, you're doing better than most. Sorry it took so long to get this one out, guys. I know it's been a couple weeks since my initial delays, but I don't know, I feel like I've been busy even though I've had more free time, and I don't know, this thing, it is kind of a headache to put together sometimes and try to navigate it, but you know, it's still fun to do. I still like doing it. So yeah, I guess how was 2023 overall? I mean, I had a personally great year. For movies, I don't know. I would say this has been an okay year. It's not my favorite or least favorite year that I've done so far, but I didn't really love it. I know a lot of people did love this year. They loved a lot of movies from it. I don't know, I just had a lot of disappointments maybe. I don't know, maybe it just didn't resonate with me that well this year. I think 2024 is going to be really good though. I don't know, the industry seems to be moving in some interesting ways. Last year, obviously we had Barbenheimer and these big events, but I think the era of the $203 million, superhero sort of extended universe sort of push has maybe burnt out a bunch of the studio's coffers recently. So then of course the writers and actors strike, which good victory guys, has kind of caused some shifts as well. So the industry could shift back to medium budget auteur driven movies, or maybe that's just my hope. But yeah, I don't know, the future for once doesn't look too bleak in Hollywood, strangely, even with the rise of AI and the sort of labor struggles we have had. I'm still a bit optimistic. I'm looking forward to this year. There's been some good films already, and I think there's going to be a whole lot more. But yeah, I'll end my rambling here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, this is the only reason I do it. I would have given up long ago if I didn't have you guys still asking me for this. And if you end up watching any of these movies, please let me know. I'd love to discuss them. I just love to discuss art in general. But yeah, I guess that's it. And I'll see you all next year, I guess.